Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome back to 10 Count. I'm Steve Ball, but on today's edition, I guess I should have brought my cowboy hat because I'm talking to Jimmy Wang Yang. How are you doing today?
Howdy, Steve. How the hell are you, man? Just kidding. That's the character. So
Wait
I'm
a
good, man.
minute.
How are you?
Wait a
What?
minute. Are you telling me you don't have a Southern accent?
I can have a Southern accent, but
It,
I just grew up in the South. So, but
it's been shut off over the years of traveling around the world, I'm assuming. But that's amazing. What look at your shirt. What's on your shirt?
who's the Yang? Jazzy Yang.
That's that's right. 'Cause you got a
That's
daughter who's in the business, right?
yeah. She's
Oh,
in the business, following my path or following her path, and crazy experience. Yeah, I wish she would have said she wanted to be a doctor, but she told me she wanted to be a professional wrestler. So
I don't know, either or the one either fixes bones or one breaks bones. We'll see how the time frame goes there. But Jazzy Yang is your daughter, and of course, second generation. That's huge because in wrestling, it feels like if you're not part of a second generation or third or fourth, it feels like everyone's like, "Oh, are you a former football player? Oh, are you a former gymnast who became a wrestler?" Like second generation usually gets a lot of respect, but also gets kind of this weird like glance of, "Are you here because of your father or your mother or your brother or your sister?" Has she or you like felt that come at you so far?
I'm pretty sure she's felt it, but if you know the wrestling history, it's kind of always been like a family tradition
Yeah.
business, and you could only get in if you was related to somebody that goes way back and all that kind of stuff. But I think it puts a lot of pressure on her, because I know when she walks in the locker room, everybody thinks, oh, you're only here because your dad, and she's gonna
Right.
have to prove herself, and that's what she's been doing for the last few years, of proving herself that she's not just my daughter, so but she's pretty badass and she's really really good. So
It
yes.
just reminds me of like the stories of like I remember I would watch like wrestle or early WrestleMania. You see Bruno Sammartino then you see his son, and you're like, man, I gotta feel bad for his son. Like
uh,
you got some big shoes to fill. She's got a big cowboy hat, I guess, to fill. But
yeah,
jazzyinc.com is her website. So if anyone wants to get more information or buy some merchandise, you can go there
yeah,
right now.
for
But
sure.
you, my friend, November 25th through 27th, WrestleCade. This is where you get to go meet all your favorite wrestlers, past, present, future, all there, signing autographs, taking pictures. You'll be there. And when you're at a convention, what's like the most common question that is asked to you? Because obviously there's going to be the same people ask, oh, what about this? What about this? What's the most common one you get?
That like you don't actually have a southern accent. Like that's probably the most one. So it's like, but I've been around a long time, and I wasn't always a Korean cowboy. Like I was a Japanese gangster. I was a flying Elvis in TNA. I was a ninja in WCW. Like it's just a character thing, but it kind of throws people off when I say, "Hi, howdy, man, how the hell are you?" Like howdy, but like
And
yeah.
then you drop your accent and suddenly they're like, wait a minute. I will give you my
What?
sir, I will give you more money if you don't drop your accent. Please, you're
I
scaring me.
know, I know. That's
Yeah,
they say,
here,
and
has
that's
one
a
of
yeah. That's
that's
the most common
hilarious.
question. That, and then they're like, "Oh, where's your cowboy hat?" Well, most of the time I do have it on me, so like, yeah,
I was gonna say, what's the traveling situation with a cowboy hat? Because obviously you don't want it to be crushed.
yeah. You have to carry it on, carry it around the whole time, and make sure nobody crushes it. Make sure I don't crush it if I fall asleep on the airplane or everything like that. So
Put it right in front of your face when you're sleeping, like an old Western. Just like I can imagine
yeah,
that.
I definitely done that a few times. So
You gotta do. You travel around the world, man. There's a story that I think you've confirmed before, but this is hilarious, and then I want to talk about it a little bit. There's a story that Vince McMahon forgot he even fired you.
yes, so that's what the impression I got when he rehired me, because like this is the crazy story. Like I was just trying to get laid one night, and there was a pay per view close by, and this girl, I was trying to get tickets and do the whole thing. This is after I got fired, so like, oh yeah, you know, this chick was really hot. They're close by. Get a awesome tickets and everything. And when I showed up, like me and Vince crossed paths, and he's like, Jimmy, where the hell you been? I was like, You fired me? He's like, what? I did what? And then it got busy and it's like, oh, I'm gonna come back and talk to you. And then the days going by and then the crazy story is that pay-per-view was when Vince was versus God.
Oh, Backlash
And
2006.
there you go. And then Shawn Michaels was wrestling against the Spirit Squad. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
well, that's I think Vengeance 2006 when Triple H and DX returned. But if you know about Backlash, when it's Vince and Shane McMahon versus Shawn Michaels and God, which is just like a spotlight on the ground. That's Backlash 2006 when the Spirit Squad come out and get involved. They do beat
So
him
that
up.
so that's the spot that they did with Shawn Michaels when the Spirit Squad came out there, lifted him up, went through the table. Shawn was like, I'm not sure if I want to do that, And then they say, oh well, let's do it for you to make him feel comfortable doing it. And I'm sitting at catering, texting this hot chick like, hey, yeah, I got tickets or whatever, And they come run to me and I say, Jimmy, what are you doing? I said, I'm eating catering. It's like, they say, can we use you real quick? I was like, sure. And I go to the ring and Spirit Squad, Shawn Michaels there, Vince and Michael P.S. Hayes. And they say, Jimmy, you mind if we just throw you up and put you through this table? I'm like, uh okay, and so I'm getting ready again. I get in the ring and then Michael Hayes tells Vince like, hey Vince, you think Jimmy should do it? He's not under contract. He's like, oh, he should be under contract, let him do it. And they threw me up 20 feet in the air, went through the table. you know Sean asked me how it felt. I said, it wasn't too bad, so. And then he did that spot and then they like went back to catering, lining things up for the night. And then they come to me again and say, hey, Jimmy, can you come to Columbus tomorrow for Raw? I was like, my mind, what I was going to do that night, it's like be up all night and do whatever. I was like, yeah, I guess, I'll come to Raw, it's whatever. So that plans got changed and I went to Raw and I showed up and they say, hey, you mind doing a match on Sunday Night Heat with Charlie Haas? I'm like, sure, and then we did the match and had a really good match in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's like, hey, can you come to Cincinnati tomorrow for SmackDown? I'm like, man, I want to get laid. Like whatever. I was like, man, you guys ruined it. But whatever. So I was like, yeah, that was my hometown for a long time. So I was like, yeah, I'll come down. And when I walked in, they say, hey, come with me. And they offer me my job back. And then that night goes by. And then I'm kind of getting long-winded with this one, but like
Oh, I
the
love
night
it.
goes,
Keep going.
okay. So the night goes by, and then I was like, man, I want to go thank Vince McMahon for hiring me again. This is my third run with the company. Uh, so I wasn't expecting getting hired back, and all that stuff. But this guy's hired me 3 different times, so I
Right.
knock on his door in his office and go in and say, hey, Jimmy, how the hell are you? So I say, oh, I'm good. I just been in Ring of Honor doing stuff, but I just want to say I appreciate you hiring me back. So, oh, I didn't know you was fired. So, but anyways, like the last time you was here as a Keo, you're this Korean dude with this Southern accent. I say, I don't have a Southern accent. I don't think. I do say y'all and that, but I just really just speak English instead of like Ultimo Dragon or Tajiri with broken English.
Yeah.
He said when you was a kid, I didn't let you talk because you're this Korean dude with this Southern accent. So this time we're gonna make a negative out of positive. I'm gonna make you the Asian redneck. That's funny, I was like, what? Okay, whatever. I don't care. As long as the check clears every Monday, I'm good to do whatever you want.
Right.
They said, Wang Yang, Jimmy Wang Yang. That rhymes. That's funny. I said, oh yeah, so like, cool, whatever you want, boss. Say, oh yeah, okay, cool. Get out of my office. So, all right, see you. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Out of my
Yeah.
office. That's amazing. So, let's get to the real subject of this matter. Did you
Okay.
get laid? Did you get laid?
Eventually, I did.
Well, we all eventually do,
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that was a good night. Just saying that whole, doing everything that whole crazy weekend from the pay per view to Monday night or the Sunday night heat with Charlie to the SmackDown and getting my job back. This beautiful blonde. Like everything was like a real good weekend for your boy Jimmy Yang.
It
So
sounds
it's
like a great week,
yeah, crazy week, crazy week.
and
Yeah,
it's funny that you took that bump, the throw in the air through the table, because I love that spot. I love that. I don't know why.
crazy, huh?
It's crazy that people don't ever use it. You would think like you'd see that maybe because of the height, because it's the difference between like being body slammed or like back body drop through a table versus being thrown by four people. Well, actually five if you count all of them into the air and hoping you come down on the right spot.
I'll give you some wrestling inside. Like it's actually was easier taking that bump through the table because it
Wow.
would break your fall. So doing without the table would actually hurt more. And that's probably why people like they take it once or twice and like, golly, that is a big bump. That's like kind of bigger than a ladder match bump. Like if they
Yes.
sometimes I seen the Spirit Squad just chop people up. So that's a rough bump on the body. So but I'm pretty sure people probably complained about it to kind of
Yeah.
kibosh it.
It's
So
funny is I don't remember, but maybe he did. I don't remember Triple H ever taking that bump.
yeah, I don't either. That's the only first I remember
He's probably like,
taking a shot.
you know what, Sean,
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
this. You got because that's
yeah.
the year DX eventually came back together and fought the Spirit Squad at Vengeance 2006,
And then
and then they got sent off to, I think they got put inside of a box that said OVW on it,
yeah,
which is pretty
yeah,
funny, if you know
yeah,
that joke. But
yeah, yeah,
that's interesting. But what's even crazier is October of 2021, you're brought back as a producer, and then slowly throughout time, a few months later, you let go. But let's not talk about the
mm-hmm.
letting go part. What
That's okay.
is you hear about everyone hears producers, wrestling producers. What the hell do you do? You walk in the building, and what's your day like?
It's just crazy. It's like the producer job. People don't realize, and that's what even you ask and say, what goes on? Like the producers have so much responsibility. There's so much going on. But I tell people the main job for a WWE producer is to produce the wrestling match. But the idea is that the producers we're like experts in the wrestling business, right?
Hmm.
And then just a TV show. So in the production truck, they're experts in TV, right? So it's our job is to connect wrestler to producer to director. So we're basically the bridge between wrestler to production trucks.
Okay,
Get what I'm saying?
so if there's like a planned spot, you're gonna tell a truck, hey, by the way, get this camera here for this move because this is gonna happen.
Yeah, so like if I told the director, say, oh, okay, here comes the reverse duck to clothesline, baseball slide Frankensteiner into the spin kick to the false finishes to the false finish to here we go to the finish, but they don't understand the wrestling terminology, right? So
Right.
like a lot of people, wrestlers understand that, like, hey, drop down, international tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, arm drag, body slam, here comes a heat spot. Here comes, they're working toward this direction. Here comes we're going home now. We got
Yeah.
2 minutes left, all this kind of stuff. But we gotta kind of explain that to the directors where they understand what's going on in the ring. So we're basically so we're bridging that gap from wrestler to production truck. But it's my job to make sure that the production truck understands what's going on in the ring.
Now, are you in
For
the
they
production? Are you in the production truck during these matches you're producing, or you've already told them what's going to happen?
So it's like a long day, So we try to get everybody on the same plan, So that's basically, yeah, that's the job for a producer to get everybody on the same page on what's going to happen in this segment. So it's all during the day. Like I talk to the director, say, okay, this is what they want to do, so tell me the best way for you to shoot it. So it's like in rehearsals and all this other stuff that goes on. But like, and then they say, okay, well, you need to do it on this, this side of the ring or
Right, right, right.
direction will be the best way for us to capture this moment, uh, whatever it is, high spot or a heat spot or attack from somebody or but making sure that they know. Or I would ask them to tell me the best way they can shoot it. Then I would go to the wrestler and say, okay, this is what the production truck says. They said, this will make we'll make sure that we don't miss this incredible moment that you have in
Right.
this match if we do it like this, because that's what that's what they want. So,
That's
and that's
interesting.
mm-hmm.
Because you think about it, like for instance, you'd hear like, oh, like all right, let's just throw out a scenario like Triple H versus Hulk Hogan. It's happened, but like, why would someone need to be in the room with Hulk Hogan and Triple H to describe to tell them? Because you always hear the stories of like a producer's in there throwing out scenarios to the wrestlers too. Well, what if you tried this? Or what if you did that? But like some wrestlers in my brain don't need that. They don't need the extra hand in their match because they're so good at what they do. Young people who obviously are starting off probably need a little more extra help. So like in my brain, it's like, how can you be bad at being a producer just because you've been a wrestler before? How to go from the wrestler to the production truck to tell them, hey, by the way, this is what we're going to do. And they're like, oh, okay, well, how about we do this way? And you go back. Like in my brain, is how could you be bad at translating what they want to do to somebody else? It feels like if you're bad at this job, then you just don't have a brain. That's what it seems to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So even it's the scenario, if it was Triple H and Hogan, like I'm not, those guys are unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
if they have like need a suggestion, I have no problem trying to give them a suggestion that they would like. But if it was Triple H and Hulk Hogan, I'd just sit there with the notebook and just say, okay, let me know where you're going and the direction you're going and what you want to be highlighted and everything like that. And then I would go to the director and say, okay, this is their plan. For Triple H and Hunter, for they can worry, or Triple H and Hulk just worry about the match and worry about what they're doing. It was be my job to relay that instead of them going to the truck and
Mm.
laying the map down for this segment. Is that's the bridge in between. I definitely, if it was Triple H and Hulk Hogan, you guys been around, you know
Yeah,
what you're doing.
you got this, guys.
You
I'm
got
just
this.
gonna catering looks pretty good
Yeah.
right now. I think I'm
Uh,
just gonna go get some chicken and
no, no, no. But I would have to, you
write
take the
down.
note,
Yeah.
you take the notes and just say, like, you give me the game plan and just worry about what you do. And it's like if they got done with that match or putting it together, you don't see Hulk Hogan going to the production truck
Right, right.
to Kevin Dunn or don't say, hey, this is our plan. Da, 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 da. No, he needs to go get ready for the match in the segment and probably do 100 meet and greets in the back, and he's trying to get some food while he's back there to get ready for the match for tonight. You
Yeah, yeah,
understand?
of course. Yeah, yeah. No, it just seems like, for instance, you were let go. What was the reason? Financially? Because again, you're talking to me like you know exactly what you're talking about. Because you'd hear stories like Bruce Pritchard would do a podcast and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, $1 Million Man wasn't a good producer." But how are you not a good producer? Like, how,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It seems like if you have experience in wrestling, you can throw out suggestions, obviously. And if you know, as even a wrestling fan like myself, I can. You have a hard camera. You know the camera angles aren't on the other side. Every time someone stands on the other side, everyone who's a fan is like they're staying on the wrong side. Like they're posing to the wrong spot, or the usually the high spots are where the entrance is or the table is. It's
Mhm.
never that side or that side because of room. So it's like eventually it feels like there's a system that's built in where if you're going to do a plancha of the top rope to the outside, you're going where the entrance is because
Mhm.
for camera angles and for space reasons. But
Yeah.
like, what was the reason you were told why you were let go?
So this is the first time they gave me the budget reason. So, like I have a record of getting released in wrestling, like definitely WWE like 4 times. There's
Mhm.
nobody like they say Marty Jannetty has more releases than me, but I don't believe it.
I'm
But
sorry, but he does. I'm sorry. If you want that crown, sir, you need to get back there about like 10 more times and get fired 10 more times. If you want
but
to pull,
legit, like tell me how many times has he been fired?
I have it.
Like
I don't have it
legit.
written down in front of me, but I know
See
for
that
sure. If you're
that's
saying four, he's definitely more than four. If you just do the math of rockers are hired, they go to a party at a bar. Shawn Michaels smashes a bottle over his head. Boom, they get fired. They come back. Da 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 da. 92 happens. Marjorie needs to go to rehab. Boom, he gets fired. That's two. He comes back in 93. Everything's going great. Da, 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 he gets fired again. He comes back in 95. He's doing great. He gets fired. He comes back in 96. So
Are
that's
you
five
got
right
these
there.
facts down? Are these facts
Oh,
right
these
here?
are
Like
facts. Me
I
just going. I haven't watched wrestling forever, so you're like you making me open up file cabinets, but
yeah, yeah.
they're not they're not too dusty.
I want to see the proof. Like people, I want to see the truth.
Don't make me go. Oh,
Yeah,
how many
because
times have I been fired? But
I,
seriously,
but yeah.
there's no way you have the Marginetti Award. I'm sorry. If you want it, you can't have it.
That's I'm still young enough, man. I'm
That's
still
true.
only 41.
That's
So,
true. Marginetti's
but
still alive though.
yeah, I'm going for that goal. But just kidding. But like so I've heard the budget reason a few times
Yeah.
or once or twice in their recent firings. But like in wrestling and life is just all about timing. The time they brought me in, you know, live business was not doing good. Like I would see the numbers, how many people would show up. Like
A house show.
no TV. It was like I
TV
remember
too.
Ashton was Arthur Ashe's stadium or arena or stadium or
Hmm.
whatever they call it in Staten Island. Like how much you think it cost to rent that building?
Right. I don't know the math on that, but I have definitely been to house shows recently, and I'm just looking around going like
Even though you're a Boston guy, so the Boston Garden, like the like like how big a place is that?
you can fit in 20,000 fans if
Yeah,
you move things around properly.
yeah,
And for instance, Survivor Series is coming up in Boston and it's sold out. So I don't have the number in front of me, but I'm guessing
yeah,
it's around 18, 20,000
yeah.
people.
Huge, yeah,
Right, and that's
huge.
also been them building that for months and war games and like that has a bunch of levels to it versus it'd be like, come on down to New Jersey for No Way Out.
Yeah.
Well,
So so that
what the hell's no way what's on the card? We don't know. We
yeah.
know Survivor Series because you know the name, you know the brand, you know what you're gonna get.
Even so I just there's a long answer too again, but like WWE live business was not doing good at the time, and that's when they all the releases happened with NXT main roster. They're cutting, they cut the catering budget. They're moving buildings, all this kind of stuff. Like it was not going in a good direction. Like during my time there, they didn't. They had a hiring freeze. They're not hiring anybody, and like even go to that Arthur Ashe Stadium. I know AEW's sold it out and all that kind of stuff. Like even
Right.
I'm trying to relate you to that Boston Garden site, 17,000 people. Arthur Ashe is about the same capacity as Boston Gardens. I know it's not called Boston Gardens anymore, but anyway, yeah,
It's been Boston Garden, Fleet
yeah,
Center,
yeah.
TD Bank North Garden, the Garden, has a million thousand names.
So they had say they had 3,000 people at Arthur Ashe. You know, that paid for tickets, so it's like and that's like I try to explain people, but a lot of people don't understand really. They don't understand the business part of professional wrestling. Yeah, they rented this building out for $1 million. They spent $1 million to produce this TV, and at the end of the week, okay, we spent $2 million this week. So how much money did we make? So it's like, oh, we made $125,000 this week. Wow, you know, if you don't understand, you lost $875,000. What are you talking?
Right. Well, I think that's why people get so upset. They're like, "Oh, those
Yeah,
Saudi pay-per-views. Those Saudi pay-per-views are killing it."
yeah,
And,
guarantee money too. Yeah,
double the WrestleMania money
yeah.
being brought in. So it's like you can have your opinions on whatever you want, but
Mm.
wrestling business.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the business part is they're killing it when they because you right if you're not selling out tickets, well then how do you take the money from over here? Steal Peter from Paul. How do you do that? Well, you got to make money over here to plop into this pile and be like, well, look, we made money.
yeah. So
Unfortunately,
yeah. So even and that was like a weekly thing when that week quarter 3 and 2021. Everything was on a down. So
yeah.
like, and I understand business expenses. Like if you're not making money, what are you supposed to be spending money, or like you try to thin things out, like, and I was an extra expense, and like, hey Jimmy, right now it's not good. So it's like, maybe in the future when if something turns around because WrestleMania season was coming back, so
Mm.
like it's like, okay, let's see where this goes in the next few months. Let's see if we can, and it's kind of I know the last few months has been going up. So like we'll see.
We'll see if you
but
can get that Marginetti award.
yeah, I'm going for it, baby. But like yeah. So yeah. That's
Well,
so they gave me the budget reason. I actually believed in this time because as a producer, you get to see a lot more of the numbers, I
yeah.
guess. And that's even like I remember Survivor Series last year with Big E, like what's the name of the arena? Where Brooklyn Nets where they played.
I can't
Uh,
remember what the Survivor Series was, to be honest with you, last year.
yeah, but it was like Survivor Series, like just like you said, it sold out at the Boston. It was like 15,000 people, and the next night was Raw, so it went from 15,000 to 3,500 people. Like, so it's like,
Right.
whoa,
Yeah, I could see that being a problem financially at least. At least you were
yeah,
given, maybe they were given that reason because I know a lot of people who I've talked to have been given those reasons and they flat out don't believe it. And
yeah.
this time you believed it. So hopefully it was true. And when the business keeps going up and up and up and up, we're gonna get Jimmy back, then Jimmy fired,
Or,
then Jimmy back,
yeah,
then Jimmy fired, Jimmy back, then Jimmy fired, and then I'll make one for you. I don't have where's my Marriage Nerdy action figure? He's somewhere, but I will find
yeah.
him and I will make him color it in gold, and I will mail it to you, my friend, because you have earned that award, the Marginetti
Yeah.
Award. Not, I don't think it's something you want, but
No, I
I'm a
want it.
nice guy.
I
I'm
want
a
it.
nice guy. I'll do it.
I want it.
I'm gonna do research later. Okay, when I put all my children to sleep, I'm gonna sit down, pen to paper, and go. When was Marginetti really fired? I'm gonna text you, and you're gonna find
And
out.
contracts and not like one offs. Like, I remember he came back to SmackDown in 2006 or five, or one of those things, but it was like,
You don't count those.
no, no, no. That's like actually having contract jobs and getting.
All right.
I'm just trying to make this sound better on myself, but I actually really don't care. But like,
That's
it's
hilarious, though.
whatever. So,
Fine, I
but
won't. I won't paint that in gold for you, Jimmy. You've hurt my
yeah.
feelings. You've hurt my
So
feelings here.
the next Yang is going to be Jazzy Yang up there, so it's not
That's true. That's true.
it's like,
We don't need to worry about you and your My Genetti Award. We need to worry about your daughter, second generation, jazzyang.com, Wrestle Cage. You'll be there signing autographs. Jimmy Wang Yang. I'm a little upset you didn't bring your cowboy hat, but that's okay with me. No, I'm just
oh,
kidding.
yeah.
I just throw
Probably have it
just
somewhere.
throw a bunch of hats on your head. We'll count it as a cowboy hat. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here on 10 Count. I've been Seafall. He's been Jimmy Wang Yang. I had a great time talking to you, learning about everything backstage and more. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye
Howdy. I'm
bye.
Jimmy Wang Yang. I'm still your boy. Yeehaw.